I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. As those of you that know me well, I do love dressing up, and so I just couldn't help it. It's Halloween tomorrow, and not only are we going to bring you some spooky cocktails, but we went all out with the with the decorations as well. Before we begin, I should probably start by saying welcome to Ginny's Gin Livestream. I'm Ginny, Crazy Ginny, and my husband Rob will join us, and he's got a couple of great cocktails for us. And along with our partners and dear friends, Jeff and Amy Close, we founded Ginny's Gin a few years ago. It was a twinkle in our eye in 2016. So I am going to tell you one of the most horrifying, scary Halloween stories that you could possibly imagine. It's a true story, and this happened in it was Halloween. So Max was about 6 years old, and we lived in St. Helena, and we were raising the boys there, and it's a very safe little town, and we pretty much knew everybody, and the kids all knew each other, and I threw this big Halloween party, and so we had a lot of adults, a lot of families that came over, and we cooked a big dinner, and then at some point, the kids obviously wanted to go trick-or-treating. So Rob stayed at home with most of the adults and continued with the party, and then we were chosen to go out with the kids. So one adult per family. So I was the one to go out and watch the children, and there were probably, I would say, maybe 6 or 7 families, and I think I was counting heads. So each time that we came into a house, the kids would come out down the pathway, and I would count heads. And I seem to remember there were about 11 or 12 heads. Anyway, so we were probably out there for about an hour and a half, something like that. And we had done sort of around the block, and we were coming back down, and we were sort of getting towards the end and nearly close to home. It was a particularly dark night that night as well. There was no moon.
It's a very busy neighborhood.
And it's a very busy neighborhood. There's a lot of people around, everybody's, it's great fun, obviously. So we get into this one house, and I'm counting heads, and there's one head missing. And Max, our youngest son, is the youngest in the group, and he's not there. So you can only imagine how scary that was, how frightening that was. So
She came running to our house and said, "We seem to have lost Max." And I was like, "What? Are you effing kidding me? No. You lost our baby?"
So he was like, he's the only one who actually had to watch. The others were old enough. So I went back to a couple of houses, and then it was like, and it's so dark, and he, but Max has already established himself as somebody that's pretty independent. He's done this before, where he's taken the reins and he's gone off and done his own thing, and so, I mean, we're in a very safe town, but it's still super scary, as all parents know. So yes, ultimately, I'm like running down the street. I can't see him, and I run to the house. I'm thinking that maybe because we were on our last, trip back to the house. It was sort of on the way back, and I figured, well, maybe he just, he left us and went home. Well, no, he wasn't at home either. So then it gets really scary. So Rob and I are running up the street in the middle of St. Helena, with all these parents around, and we're shouting, and then somebody says, "Ginny, Sweeney," and I was like, "Yes," and she's like, "It's okay, he's fine." So I guess what had happened is that there was one family that they were doing kettle corn, and the kids were all queuing up, obviously, to get their bag of kettle corn. And just as Max arrived, they ran out of kettle corn. So he stayed and waited so he'd get his bag of kettle corn for the next round. So anyway, she says, "He's over there," and points me in this direction. So there's the policeman, and he's got his police car, and Max is sitting in the front seat of the police car. And first of all, the policeman says, "It's okay, he's fine, don't worry." And he said, "But you've trained him very well." I said, "Well, how's that?" And he said, "Well, first of all, he came and found me, and he said, I've lost, my mummy." And so he found the policeman, which, was around. It's St. Helena. There's not much else to do. And when he said, he went to put him in the front seat of the police car, he said, "I'm going to drive you back to your house. Don't worry, it'll be fine." He went to put him in the front seat, and he said, "My mummy doesn't let me sit in the front seat." It was so cute.
I'm not supposed to sit in the front seat, and I need a car seat.
And the policeman said, it's okay, you're safe with me, it's fine. Anyway, so we were all reunited, and it was, you know, I'm sure, you know, Max had some tears or what have you, and I think I'd had some tears and probably Rob too. But, you know, it was so terrifying, you know, that moment when you're like, you've lost your child. And I wonder if other parents have done the same thing. And I feel like I'm showing myself up to be a horrible parent. But, you know, there are situations where it happens. And anyway, all's well that ends well with that.
School too.
Well, yes, that's why he'd established himself as an independent. So, there's my horror story for Halloween 2020. And I have to say that 2020 itself has been a bit of a horror story the whole way around, hasn't it? Okay, so my cocktail that I'm going to do, pretty simple, and I actually adapted it from what are they called? The Gin Club. They're in the United Kingdom, and you know, I googled Halloween cocktails and what have you, and I got some inspiration, and I worked this one around one of their recipes. So thank you to the Craft Gin Club. So pomegranates are in season right now, and they're beautiful. And of course, when you cut them open, you get a blood red color, right? So Halloween, blood. So you may well have seen this before. This is the Rose's grenadine. So grenadine, I don't know if you know this, is actually made from pomegranate juice. As it happens, this has never seen a pomegranate. This is all dye and artificial coloring, and high fructose corn syrup is the first thing on the list. So throw this one away. And I decided to make my own grenadine syrup, or yes, grenadine syrup. In fact, grenadine comes from the French for pomegranate, which is grenade, and so it's grenadin, and we call it grenadine, obviously. So French for the pomegranate. Okay, so to make the pomegranate, the blood, what I did is I cut open this, and there are different ways of extracting the juice. But I felt that the easiest way was just to cut it in half, and then much like a lemon, you ream it like this, just gently. You don't go into too much, and all the juice comes out, and then you just strain it, and then you take the juice of this, and I think it produced about half cup, something like that. Put it in a saucepan, and then you could do 1-to-1 pomegranate juice to sugar, but I think I halved it because I don't want. It's pretty sweet itself. I mean, it's sort of got this mixture of sweet and tart. So depending on your taste, you can do 1-to-1. I did 1-to-half. So that thing going on, and I'll show you that in a moment. All right, so there's the pomegranate. So first of all, I'm going to take 2 ounces of Ginny's gin. Do you know, I'm really hot with the wig. Holy moly. That's the only thing about having a wig on. Okay, 2 ounces of Ginny's gin. Whew. There we go. Voila. Nice and cold, the gin. And then I've already done an egg white. So I got that pre-opened here, separated. There's the egg white. And
it's a brontosaurus egg.
It is, that was a big one, wasn't it? Said the actress to the bishop. Okay, now some lemon. I'm going to do, so that was 2 ounces of gin. I'm going to do 1 ounce of lemon. There we go. Cut the ends off. I think this is a pretty juicy one, so it should be fine. Just in case my husband shouts now. Oh, you know what? That's fine.
Are you going to measure? No.
Nah, it's fine. I know what I can do. There we go. Woo! It's got squirted. Oh, and again. There we go. I'm just going to turn it over as well. Yeah.
Boy.
What?
You don't need to.
Oh, God. It's okay. I got this. All right. Gin, lemon juice, egg white, and then normally with a gin fizz you would add a little simple syrup. But that's what we're going to do at the end with our bloody simple syrup. All right, so a little ice. You know, I've never had hair like this, obviously, so I don't know if I'd be able to deal with it if I had it. I mean, I'm always envious of people with really nice, beautiful long hair, beautiful locks. I think it would just get in the way for me. Oh, Rob would like it if I had long hair, I'm sure. Oh, well. Okay. What?
People are saying something. I don't know. See words and stuff.
Okay. Oh crap! Sorry, pardon my language. He's distracting me. So what I should have done is I should have shaken it up without the ice and then shaken it with the ice. So I kind of messed that up, but it's fine. Don't do as I do. Do as I shake without the ice,
Oh,
and
wait,
then
right.
shake with the ice. So a dry shake. So,
Fine, yeah.
but you know what? It's Halloween and it's 2020, and as long as there's alcohol and it's gin is gin, we're all good. Okay. Nice and frothy. Nearly there. If anybody has a great Halloween story, just send it to me. Okay. Alright. So here's the fun part. This is the fizz, and then the sugary part obviously is the blood. So same kid, Max, he's now 17 years of age, and you know, he's quite capable of not getting lost, I hope, now. I was in his bedroom and I was cleaning up, which in itself is a bit of a horror nightmare, for any of you that have teenage boys, you'll know. And I found this, and this syringe was part of a science experiment. He's doing environmental science, and so I saw this and a few other things, and I'm like, oh God, what's he doing? And then, of course, I realized it was from environmental science and not some other science project. So what we're going to do is take this syringe. This is rather a large one, but you can buy the little ones. And what's kind of cute is, so you just take this up like that, and I think I did like 15 mils.
Yeah. I have little 50 ml ones.
I know you do,
Yeah.
but you know, I saw this and that's what inspired me to look for this particular recipe. So there we go. All right, so there's the blood in the cocktail. All right, now this, you would put this in a fizz glass, you know, with fairly straight lines. I think this is a pretty glass for this particular cocktail, so it's actually a wine glass, but hey, it's all good. Okay, there we are. Excellent, that's fizzy enough. There we go. So let's pour the fizz into here. Beautiful. And that goes to about there, and then I'm going to add a little bit of club soda, which brings the foam up a little more. Oh, I just lost a spider. Ruh-roh. There we go. Rob thinks I'm weird. Okay, so there's the club soda. That brings it up a bit. And then what you would do, if you were going to serve this to guests for your Halloween party, would be kind of fun, is you would have your syringe, like this, and then you would just serve it in there, and your guests can then add as much blood to the drink as they like. So you can see, so you allow the guests to do this themselves, and there goes the red. Looks kind of cool, huh? And then you would encourage, obviously, your guests to, before you drink it,
No, it looks really
to
cool.
stir it. I mean, it looks really pretty like that, obviously. So it's kind of fun. It's sort of an interactive thing where your guests can be a part of the fun. And, you know, get yourself some scary napkins. So there it is. It's the Gin is Gin Bloody Good Gin Fizz. All right, Rob's got a couple of really exciting cocktails for you. I couldn't get him to dress up, you know, but hey, I tried. So Rob, you're going to
I
take
would
it
have
away.
if I didn't know.
Oh, bullshit.
No, I really would have.
Cheers.
I really would have. Hi, everybody. So I have a book, and I'm not sure, maybe Amy gave it to me. It's called Joe Beef. And Joe Beef is a restaurant in Montreal, and I was just looking at the forward of the book, and I've cooked a bunch of stuff out of it, and I highly recommend the cookbook. I think it came from Amy, and it's, in the forward, it's David Chang wrote his favorite restaurant in the world. And I kind of get that. But the inspiration for one of the two cocktails I'm making
Joe Beef?
is... Yeah, Joe Beef. Is from Joe Beef, but they make this Bloody Mary with all this really cool seafood on it. But I'm going to do it with gin, which makes it a red snapper instead of a Bloody Mary, but either way, it's a gin Bloody Mary. So, but first, I'm going to do a very quick martini with lychee, because we're going to use lychee to make like a really creepy eyeball. So, yeah, it's fun. So basically, you take lychee fruit, which kind of, there it is, and then inside the hole where the pit came out, you just put some strawberry jam in there. And of course, it's a slow spooning. But a lot of times this cocktail thing goes so fast that we thought maybe we do something fun like this that drags it out a bit. But
Drags
okay.
it out.
Yeah. Okay. So we got the strawberry in there, and then you put a blueberry in it for the eyeball.
Nice, huh?
Yeah. And it kind of gives it this kind of...
Bloodshot.
Yeah, I'm taking a little piece off. Okay, so...
Looks like my eyeballs in the morning.
Yeah. So, oh, my martini glass is in the freezer, Mom.
I got it.
So then, what we're gonna do is go through. So you end up with this like really cool. I'm gonna come closer. Little eyeball thing. They look really good. Isn't that crazy cool? It's a bloody eyeball, and it looks pretty realistic. So we're just gonna rest that on the martini glass for now, like that, with our little straw. And then for your classic martini, we have we don't have a bar, but we got a cool bar table.
And the Bloody Eyeball also came from the Craft Gin Club website that in England.
Yeah, I've seen it in a bunch of spots, bunch of
Yeah.
places, yeah. So for this drink, we're gonna go, and it's basically classic martini, 1, 2.5 ounces of gin, and then for 1/2 ounce of vermouth, and then I've got a little bit of the, so lychee, you can buy lychee fresh, but it's pretty hard to find, but I really like the canned ones, and it's really, they're tasty, and the syrup is pretty yummy, so I'm gonna put about 1/4 ounce of syrup of the lychee, canned lychee syrup, and then I'm gonna chuck a whole lychee in there, and then I'm gonna go with, I'm sorry I'm always out of the screen grabbing all my stuff, but that's kind of how it rolls, and then 1 big ice cube, 2 small. And then, because we've got the fruit kind of pummeled into there, we're gonna
hold that.
we're gonna try to turn this guy a little bit. Well, sure. So double strain, and so it has just a little bit of the lychee syrup, and then that lychee that got pulverized by shaking it kind of added some flavor, and it's really nice and subtle. It's actually a really tasty martini. And there we go.
Who's looking at ya?
So that's your Halloween lychee eyeball martini. Whoa. It's fine that it falls in, actually. That's where it kind of belongs. Okay, so now I'm going to do this special red snapper. And so we're going to take we're going to make 2. 1 for Ginny and 1 for me. Right?
Friday at 5 o'clock.
And so the first step is to take your 2 glasses and take some lemon juice on the rim and dip it in the Old Bay seasoning to give a little red rim to your glass.
Nice.
Shake it off. There's your beautiful little red rim. It sounds like red rum. Okay? And so then, you know, we can make this into tins, and then we're going to go back and forth in between the tin and the glass just to mix it right at the very end. So basically, it's, you know, most of the recipes for this call for 1.5 ounces of gin. Bugger that. We're going to go 2 ounces. I always kind of scale my drinks for a 2 ounce. So 2 ounces in that one. And that's a good one. 2 ounces in that one. And then we're gonna have, you know, a lot of them call for Tabasco. I love Tabasco. I'm using Crystal. I like that too. They're both really good. But a dash, that looked like about 1.5 dashes of in each. And then a dash of Worcestershire. And you have to be really careful because, man, dashes come out to be a lot with the Worcestershire bottle. So I just pour a little bit to control it.
Losing spiders.
Then, there's spiders jumping all over me. And then we're gonna put a squeeze of lemon juice in each one. And then we're gonna put a little bit of fresh grated
horseradish. Yeah, I found horseradish at Oliver's. Talking of Oliver's, you can buy Ginny's Gin at Oliver's. And a bottle bomb. And a
I mean, I like quite a bit of horseradish, so I'm okay with a little extra. That's really the way to go with the root. I just cut a little piece off. We have the rest of the root in the fridge, and then just grate it nice and fresh like that. And then, what else does this have? It's got the gin. Oh, my special tomato. Yeah. So pretty much. Oh.
Tabasco.
I already did salt and pepper. Little pinch of salt, little pinch of salt in that one. And then, so basically that's kind of everything, right? So I'm just gonna double check my ingredients to make sure I'm not missing anything. But basically, yeah, dash of this, dash of that, fresh grated, salt and pepper, gin, that's it. So,
this would make a really good brunch time cocktail on Halloween. Because you'll see in a moment how much protein it's going to have in it too.
Yeah, this in the Joe Beef book they call this a Joe Beef Caesar. I'm not sure really why. Okay, so that's kind of like everything, and then we're going to put this stuff in there, all the yum yums and the gin. Okay, and then we're going to take. So what I did was, you know, we've been trying to figure out things to do with all the bounty of the tomato garden we had this year. I made this tomato juice out of cherry tomatoes, so it didn't take that long, but you got to cut a little X. You got to drop them in boiling water for like 30 seconds. You got to blanch them in cold water. Then you peel each cherry tomato, and then kind of get the seeds and skins off and strain it, and then boil it just for like 30 seconds so that it's super food safe, and then strain it, and you end up with this beautiful stuff. So. When I shucked the oysters and the clams, I did it over a strainer and I put a little bit of the juice inside my fresh tomato juice. So now the idea is to top up.
That's a meal.
Yeah. Wow, that was just the right amount too. And then, just to make sure that we got this tall enough to fit all of our ingredients in, I need my 2 shakers back. That's the whole idea. So this is how we mix our cocktail. That's Bloody Mary bartending. Sweet. And then the little spot that got poured off is the part where your lips go, right? Yeah. So then same thing here, just a little mixing. Okay, now the fun part is we go with the Old Bay seasoned poached shrimp. One for each, you know, and then you got a spear of bushy celery.
Nice.
Yep, and then a little clam, which would be, what are these? Little cherry stone. Mm-hmm. And then one, and you can use, you know, whatever seafood you like. I don't know. I mean, I think these Kumamoto oysters look pretty hecka good because we're just going to basically eat it about as fast as we, woohoo, look at that.
If you're not into seafood, you can obviously do bacon,
yeah,
different variations.
Bacon, chicken.
Yeah. But that's a meal in itself, isn't it? I mean, that would be great.
Okay, so there's the drink. So awesome. I don't know. I mean, we could probably push this one out just to get a good look. At, yeah. Whoops! I lost my. I dropped. Oh, Ginny! I dropped your clam. These are little necks, by the way, not cherry stones. These are little neck clams. But yeah, there it is. That is the yum yum drink. And then, you know, just to kind of keep it all together, if you wanted to have a sip, we could take our little stainless steel straws and drop them down in there. But I think we're just going to drink out of the glass after we eat our oyster and clam.
Excellent. Yeah.
So there you go. So we got the eyeball, we got the snapper, and we got the bloody
Gin Fizz, bloody good Gin Fizz. Yeah.
So happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hope you have a great Halloween weekend, and everybody stay safe out there. I don't suppose the kids are going to be trick-or-treating, but
Trick-or-treating?
yeah, I'm sure they'll figure something out.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week, and cheers. Enjoy the weekend. Okay, bye.